A lot of reaction already to Tottenham. Peter said Spurs have a mid-table squad managed by a mid-table manager. Where are we in the league? Andy says, greetings from Shanghai, Jeff. Morning, Andy. I'm not sure what time of the day it is there. Spurs players need to up their game. I really thought Frank could turn things around. It's the players who need changing. And Anthony says the players are not interested in Frank's style of play and boring tactics. He has to go. Well, maybe those players should take some responsibility themselves, Anthony. Look, let's get the view of a Tottenham fan who's given us a call on 03717 223344. It's Jonathan. Morning, Jonathan.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Morning, chaps. Great show.
Thank you, mate.
Older for 41 years. This is one of the worst I've seen. But I think the biggest problem we've got is too many Spurs fans are absolutely deluded, thinking we've got some divine right to be challenging. And actually, Tony Cascarino made a good point on Saturday. We've got the best stadium in the world. We've got the best training ground in the world. It's like having a Formula One car, but letting Mr. Magoo drive it, putting gravy in instead of petrol. And the problem is, unfortunately, is that our recruitment is terrible. We've got a CEO who got fired by Arsenal, a head of recruitment that got fired by Villa, and the most Spursy thing of all is we sell Brennan Johnson and we buy Conor Gallagher. And that tells you all you need to know about us. And if we want to really get there, it comes down to one thing and one thing only, paying top wages. Because you can't blame anyone, especially players, because they have a short career, for going somewhere that's got ambition and that will compete.
Yeah. Look, points very well put indeed, Jonathan. Thank you very much indeed for that.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Let's move on and get more on Thomas's Frank's future with reporter of The Athletic, Jack Pitt-Brooke. Morning, Jack.
Good morning, Jack.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ali.
Look, Jack, they've tried Pochettino and Conte and Mourinho and Ange Postecoglou. When will people start to accept that maybe it's not the manager who is the main problem at Tottenham, or do you think that it is?
I think in this case, it is the manager. I think that Thomas Frank is not really... I don't think he really fits the challenge of managing a club the size of Tottenham Hotspur. I think there's lots of examples in recent years of fantastic managers who've taken a step up to a huge club and they've not quite been able to make it work. I'm thinking of David Moyes at Man United, Roy Hodgson at Liverpool and so on. So I think Thomas Frank has really struggled. But I also think the Tottenham job is a really hard job. It's a really, really hard job. It's particularly hard at the moment, given all the changes they're going through. And Thomas Frank has just failed to get his arms around it, basically.
Jack, tell me, you say he doesn't fit, and he might not fit. He's certainly looking as though he doesn't fit. But looking at that illustrious list of managers that they've had, and there have been some brilliant coaches, whether you go to Mourinho, Pochettino, Conte, they won a European trophy with Postecoglou. Who does fit?
It's hard to say apart from Mauricio Pochettino. Mauricio Pochettino is the only manager, I think, in the modern era who has really understood what the club's about. He's understood the expectations and the fans and the history of the club, and he's found a way of playing which somehow brings together what the fans want, what the resources of the club are able to deliver, and finding a place within the Premier League for Tottenham to play kind of attacking, cutting-edge football. He's the only one who's figured it out. Nobody else has been able to figure it out. But I actually think Frank is further away from figuring out than almost any other Spurs manager I've seen in recent years. He is so unpopular. Even Conte, Mourinho, Nuno at their lowest moments were not as unpopular as Thomas Frank is right now. And so that's why I think they will have to find somebody else to give it a go.
Yeah, I just asked the question, Jack, really, who the heck could win games with this squad? You mentioned exciting attacking football. Up front at the weekend, you've got, Tel, Koulibaly and Odegaard. They are not going to be a huge threat against anybody at all. The recruitment, in recent times, Tel is a classic example. Simons, Odegaard, Koulibaly, I know he's only on... The recruitment has been atrocious. Surely people other than the manager should bear the responsibility.
Jeff, I completely agree. The recruitment has been really bad. The weird thing about Tottenham right now is that I think their best players are all defenders. Van de Ven, Romero and Porro are probably the only Spurs players who you say could get in other big Premier League teams. And, he's been unfortunate because the two of the three best attacking players last year, Maddison, Kulusevski, Solanke, not one of them has started a single game for Thomas Frank so far this season. But as you say, if you look at the attacking players they put out, whether it's, Tel, Oliver, Colomwani, Richarlison and so on, I don't think they'd look out of place if they were playing for West Ham or Burnley or Leeds or Everton or, a team from a team from further down the Premier League. So I think in that sense, that is a degree of mitigation for Thomas Frank, right? Like the attacking talent he has got at his disposal is just not very good.
How did he turn it around, Jack, in the respect of making Tottenham an attractive proposition for the top players? Because at this moment in time, they're not. Is it as plain and simple down as paying the big wages? Because I don't think it is. I think it's more than that. I mean, I think, you look, for example, whether it's Semenyo or Isak and boys like that, I don't think these top players would be interested, whether they like it or not, in going to Spurs at this moment in time. So how do they change that?
Well, I think they're in quite a good position because they're in London and they've got a great stadium and they've got a fantastic training ground as well. So that gives them a start. I don't think they're going to be competing for Isak Semenyo level players for a while. I think they have to make. I think they're probably better off targeting players who maybe play in different European leagues or younger players, and saying, if you come here, we can be a platform, and maybe you can, if you flourish here, you can go on to great things. And they've got some really good players in the door by doing that. Like Bergvall, I think, is a great player. Yeah. Van der Ven is going to be a great player if he's not already. So they can be an attractive proposition, but I also just think they need to prove that they can play an attractive style of play to match.
Jack, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Jack. Have a good day, mate.
Cheers, guys. All the best.
Be interesting to see if Thomas Frank can survive the week. And Dortmund at home in the Champions League.
It's a strange one, though, Jeff, isn't it? I mean, I've got this list of coaches in front of me.
Yeah.
Talented coaches, and then how many times have we said it? And be careful what you wish for. Postecoglou wins he wins a European trophy. A bit like Moyes with West Ham, big Moyes with West Ham, Jeff. I mean, you win a European trophy, but it doesn't seem to be enough. I don't know. It baffles me, particularly the situation at Tottenham.
Yeah. Reports as well in the press at the moment of player dissatisfaction. Well, I'll tell you what, those players have not earned the right to express dissatisfaction.
Here.
They need to up their game. Blows it. James says he was at the game on Saturday. He said first half, worst standard of football he's seen in 20 years. Can't keep changing the manager. The problem is a lot deeper than that. And Sam says Poch had a prime Kane, Son and Dele Alli. He's not got a magic wand to mount a title challenge with this squad. So lots of reaction as far as Spurs are concerned. I mentioned that Dortmund game, by the way, in midweek, second in the Bundesliga. They've scored in 26 of their 27 games this season. And then, of course, it's Burnley away the weekend. One thing is for sure, Thomas Frank, that's a game that is a must-win as far as he's concerned. Yeah.